Welcome to this beautiful space. We are sitting in the middle of what could potentially be a studio space for Oasis. Like all of you know, and both of you guys know, we are in a brand new moment in world history where what we had hoped would be a short-term quarantine to flatten the curve has turned into something that is now much, much bigger and a lot longer into the future. And so because what we've been doing has been working really great, I've been very proud of what we've been pulling off, but what we're doing at home, the three of us, has not been something that we can continue to do forever. And so instead of looking for this brand new building that we move into, that we purchase or do a long-term lease like we had been dreaming and praying about for years, we are now meeting the moment that we are in, just like all of the believers that have come before us. I mean, as we've been talking, we're in the middle of this desert. And instead of pretending like it's going to go away, we need to realize that we are in a spot that we can do something incredible and we don't have to stay in survival mode anymore. So that brings us to the space. We are looking at grabbing this studio space. So Adriel, what is it about this space that is going to make what we've been doing better, and why can't we just keep doing what we've been doing?
Sure. So, be honest, when I first came in here, we walked through about a month ago.
Yeah, with the board.
With the board. Wow, this is not what we've expected, right? This
So
is not
true.
a pretty space. It just was kind of striking how industrial this is.
Yeah.
But as we started walking through, especially as I went home and started thinking about it, it really struck me that this is a space we can make into whatever we need it to be. And what we need to do is we need to grow what we're doing, this production, this broadcast that we're doing every Sunday, and give other people in church opportunity to be working into that, to help with it, to come alongside.
This space would allow us to have that community together, which does make a difference for our music. It does suffer when we can't be together. There is some goodness. There's, the Holy Spirit that is present when we are worshiping together, and it's easier to play together, our timing, all the things that just happen with music.
Not to mention the relationship that you guys get to have while you're together.
Community, like
huge.
everybody else. But it does take its toll on what we're trying to do when we can't be together. So this space would allow us to have that community together, which does make a difference for our music.
And while it's not perfect, it's not what any of us had dreamed of or prayed for, it is the moment that we've been given.
Yeah.
And like all of the believers that have come before us for the last 2,000 years, the Holy Spirit is calling us to do something and not just stay in survival mode. We have the ability to do something great in this moment. And I think to waste that, to just hope that eventually it'll all magically disappear, I think is missing an opportunity that God is giving us.
Because the reality is this is what church is going to look like for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what we're doing for church.
Yeah.
If people want to be involved, which is what we want, is for us to have community. I think we're all hungry for that. It just is going to look different, and it's going to feel different and be different. And maybe it's a different skill you're using, but you're still being involved and serving, which I think is important.
Yeah. So here's what that's going to mean for you. That means that what we're asking for in this letter of intent is that we rent this almost 4,000 square foot space for $1,800 a month. That's going to give us the ability to film in here during Sunday nights and do the live broadcast. It's going to give the band the ability to set up, to practice in here, to also do all of their recording together as a team, which is a huge, huge blessing. It's going to give Adriel the ability to have a permanent setup for all the tech stuff that goes on. I mean, Adriel, you're running this bad boy out of your Winnebago every Sunday night. And while that's awesome and really cool, we want to be able to have a centrally located place that we can bring all of you in, not at the same time, of course, but everybody's going to have the ability to serve, to create this experience. This is going to be our online campus. And it's not the campus I was hoping to build right now, but it's what we've been given. And so we're going to create this community online as if it was the building that we had prayed for and are going to continue to pray for. And once COVID is over and everybody can get back together, then we don't have to use this space anymore. This is not a permanent thing. We're asking for a 3-year lease with the ability to cancel it at any time with a 3-month window. And so if we end up finding a place that is a permanent building and it's awesome, we can jump out of this contract and move all of our stuff to wherever that might be. But ultimately, you as the congregation, you're going to make the final call. This is something that we need your permission to do. We want you to pray about this. We want you to talk about it with your family. This is a commitment that we're going to make to this online campus, this community that we're going to build while all of this is taking place, because we don't want to sit back and just wait and hope for this thing to end. We want to be able to move and work and continue to minister during these times. And I think that's incredibly important for the gospel in our community. And it also gives us the ability to reach people that we never would have been able to reach. This is not something that I ever would have envisioned, but it may be the tool that God has planned and worked towards for years in order to reach a specific group of people that we never would have reached before. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of exciting.
We've been serving at Oasis, my family has, for almost 12 years. We've been doing it the same way for the most part in different locations. We've been doing the same thing. And I think the challenge now will be that we need to do things a little differently. We need to imagine Oasis a little bit differently. I think in some ways this feels bad, if I'm honest. Like it feels bad to have to do church so drastically differently.
Yeah.
And yet, God can move and serve and work, as we know, in all things and in all situations, and it's not dependent on any of the circumstances we thought it needed to.
Yeah.
But it's a challenge, something that I find myself, convicted about, or making sure I check in myself that, okay, moving forward, it's going to be a little bit different, but it's still going to be good.
Yeah, and we do hard things because those
Right.
that we model ourselves after, the early church, the Christians that have been doing this for thousands of years under an oak tree in the mountains or in the Sahara with no building, no electricity, the gospel still spreads. The move of the Holy Spirit is not halted based on our circumstances. It never has been, and we can't allow that to happen now. And so, yeah, it's going to mean we need to look at church a little bit differently.